What up, my freaks? RuinusInsight here with part 2 of my Total War Warhammer 3 SFO Tzarina Katarin Immortal Empires campaign. That's a mouthful, I gotta shorten that. But anyway, as we saw last time, we began reasonably strong, knocking out the Bear Sindling tribe and then immediately moving to declare war upon the Bone Rattlers. And though we have not yet met Azag in combat, seems he's moved southward towards, I guess, Ungrim's other territories. We are looking to move upon his capital, Kazad, Kulas, and are likely to meet him sooner rather than later, which should be pretty fun. And then after that, of course, we'll have to decide where we head to next. Depends on A, where our enemies are, and B, this situation to the north. We do definitely want to take these territories as well, but since Kislev's economy is weak at the start, it'll probably be a little bit of a while before we get a second army up and running, though I'll make sure to get one as soon as possible. Ooh, this one has that Kazar unit upkeep reduction, which should be pretty valuable for getting a cheap stack up and running as well. Certainly something to take a look at. Funded by Faith Growth when Local Ataman. That's the current guy we have. I'm just gonna have to take another quick look at if there's anything interesting new here. Alright, that upkeep reduction for infantry, all infantry, and missile resistance. This would be really nice for either a Zargard unit or possibly an Acolytes of Ursun sort of a one, though I do have to wonder whether a Hag Mother or a Druzhina would be superior to those. I don't know whether they have specific buffs for the Acolytes of Ursun or not. We'll see. The Acolytes get buffs from Best of the Court, funnily enough, from the same tree that the Zargar and the Ice Guard do. Neat. Anyway, I believe that's it. That's all for what we have to do this turn, and that there isn't really anything that we have to do this turn. I will get a point in Ice Sheet for Tzarina Katarin, because it is nice and spammable, but it's probably time to start saving points in order to unlock her unique line and get her access to the Lure of the Tempest as well. And Ice Court training decision must be made for our Tech Thief, our new Tech Thief. You can... okay, these don't matter at all, I guess, be unbreakable. And I'm gonna skip Diplomacy and we'll go next turn. Let's see if Azag shows up. I don't see him jumping here, which is a bit of an unfortunate event. Ooh, I also noticed that Sylvania is considerably stronger than us. That's exciting, because usually when the AI sees that they're considerably stronger than you, they are likely to declare war on you. Thus, it might be something to do down here as well. Technology researched, another Ice Court training slot and control bonus, and capture and occupy Kazad as well. Isn't that a coinky-dink? Great. And, wait. A hero becomes legend when 10 battles with any single hero. That should be easy enough. And what are you? Imperial Wardens. Are you willing to trade? Are we not able to talk directly through the caravan? Okay, fine. What? Wait. Okay, that's a little bit odd that we don't see them here, considering they're in our territory. You'd think we would have discovered the faction. Odd, but whatever. Not a big deal either way. Tzarina Katarin, you've got a long way around to go. I will... Alright, I'm gonna risk keeping you in March Stance. Yeah, I don't see Azag, okay. And gotta remember that in SFO, March Stance is really, really dangerous. Vigor is vastly different in SFO, as in the debuffs are a lot more hefty. So if you get hit while your army is in March Stance, it could go really bad. I remember in my Karl Franz campaign, ages ago, near the start, I sort of risked him being in March Stance and then got hit by Kazrak's army right here very early in the campaign, and it was a very close call, so close that it stayed in my memory. But anyway, new techs. Now, hook-bladed axes or hooked axe blades are good, but I think we want to move towards this. Iron River Stone. Construction cost -5 for all buildings. It's not anything crazy, mind you, but it's probably decent. Capital Barrack Renovations also gives us... wait, no, there was something else here. One moment. This. Hero capacity for Ice Maidens or Frost Maidens into Awaken the Land Commandment with an additional 10% income. Now, Awaken the Land currently gives us 10% already, so that would immediately bump it up to 20% as long as we're in that commandment, which is pretty solid, I should say. So I think that's also a decent option for a relatively early pick. Is it better than Iron Riverstone? I'm not entirely sure. I would imagine that Iron Riverstone is probably more valuable, but I think maybe in the early game we actually want to grab a hooked axe blades first. If this was the first thing, I would get it, but since we have to move through Icecade collars, and which doesn't really do much for us at the current time, I think we're better off doing it like this. Anyway, Frost Maiden, you are into evasion. Spell resistance will actually be useful against Azag. But I do want to get you magical reserves ASAP, because we're already maxed out in terms of magics, and we could always get more. You. Oh, of course. We got 2 relatively bad traits, but then we get a good trait for the Ice Guard in particular. That said, Missile Strength plus 10 for Ice Guard versus just straight up Missile Strength plus 10, meaning this would also buff Little Groms, and this would also buff Tzarina Katarin and her War Sleds, meaning it's much better than just a 10% increase for Ice Guard specifically. I think this trait then needs to be modified to give 15% rather than 10, otherwise it's just plain inferior to Ranger. Either way, campaign line of sight or enemy hero success chance, we're gonna go with better swords for the enemy hero success chance, as we want to summon you. We're gonna want to summon you as an agent on field. Non-aggression pact with the Robsman clan, no, we're probably gonna attack them. Carl wants, ooh, looks like his armies have been destroyed by the Fecondites and the Black Pit tribe. Oh, Androgena Enclave wants to confederate, but it's, funnily enough, probably not worth it. We'd suffer a lot of control issues to gain a single capital up here, and it's Fortress Strask, it's not Prague. I think we can wait on this a little bit, because this thing isn't making any money, and we'd have to have another army to defend it, because it would immediately identify Azazel, Throg, and Throt, and yeah, it's not a good time for it. However, with regards to Carl, I think we'll do the trade agreement. It's not much as, yeah, oh, we can't do the trade agreement. Alright, fine, do this. For 869, they'll give us the trade agreement themselves eventually. No doubt about it. Unless they get killed by Vlad or something, or by the Fecondites. So I've never actually seen the Fecondites overrun the Empire, admittedly. I swear that the devs programmed the Fecondites and then the surrounding enemies to sort of be in an equilibrium where they don't destroy each other, but consistently annoy each other for the entire campaign. Because pretty much every time I play, I always see the Fecondites survive, even when they're completely surrounded. It seems like the enemy is unwilling to destroy them, which is quite suspicious. Anyway, make any faction join your confederation. Burning when Nomad's destroyed. Okay, there goes one of our mini trade agreements. Hey, a White Cloak of Ulrich. Interesting. These are available to the Empire as well. I mean, it's Ulrich, obviously. Research 8 technologies. We can certainly do that. Also, before I forget, looks like there was a bunch of comments to name these guys the Winged Hussars instead of the Winged Lancers, and sure enough, we can do it. Alright, in camp and motherland stance, somebody pointed out in the comments, these things look nearly identical, so I played myself last episode and put Katarin in the wrong stance, which explained why she was suffering more attrition. Campaign line of sight for subsequent turn, attrition minus 10 casualties on armies in province, and 10% physical resistance when defending. Why would I ever use this? Why would I ever use this over in camp? It doesn't seem worth it, because in camp gives you immunity to attrition, and yeah, it's a little bit more movement, but 10 physical resistance versus 5 leadership and 5 melee defense, plus a massive amount of ambush defense chance, and the additional casualty replenishment trait on top of immunity to attrition. It seems like in camp stance is generally just better. I think Motherland stance needs to be modified to have no campaign movement range penalty whatsoever for it to be more viable. Also, I wonder how much money we'd get from raiding. Oh, probably not a lot. Let me just see here. Do we even need to raid? Let's find out. 136? Yeah, not a lot. Not a lot, but we gotta get Kazad or Kulas next turn anyway. It has a few defenders, a few wall defenders, so maybe. Alright, what do we got over here? Merchant traders, you're still in purge the steps due to the public order issue. Income reduction control in province +1, we could zero it out, meaning we can switch you to awaken the land just for the teensy extra bit of money. Not a lot, but better than nothing. And then I guess we're gonna go for the iron mining pit, which fortunately is also not worth that much, or doesn't cost that much, I mean. Alright, merchant traders, Kislev, you're gonna take 3 more turns to upgrade, so you're gonna be a little bit of a while. If we get the next level of the Orthodoxy Chapel here, we could immediately get a Patriarch on the field, and we do want one. Oh, I mean, out the gold here as well. Oh, and that means we're out of money to upgrade the chapel, but I think the gold has to take priority, so... And what can you do? Ostermark, still just Tzarina Enclave, we'll keep an eye on the Ropsman clan, but otherwise we're okay. Alright, let's go next turn. It's only a matter of time before somebody suddenly declares war on us, and we're quite far away in the mountains at the current time, so I definitely have to pay attention to that. And okay, now that's not Azag, that's a random little rebellion. I guess he's not having a great day anyway. Also, before I forget, as usual, we'll be doing a sort of... hello, Mother Earth, Motherland invocation cost minus 50%, swell. Threshold regarding hour-long episodes, as usual, 85, still a lot more, eh? I mean, it's reachable. Looks like these guys are a little bit ahead of us, but we can always use money to, you know, take away their supporters. This is for 20 turns, so we should be able to get this as long as we get the requisite amount of devotion. I'm also going to give this a read, because it's been a while since I played Kislev, so I don't remember what all the little blurbs say. Many believe that the motherland is alive and loves her people as they love her. When disease claims the lives of every man, woman, and child in 5 stanitsas, the icy wind takes on a new timbre, one that sounds like a sorrowful howl. The land will surely make amends. Mother Earth. Alright. Well, that'll be real helpful. Enter a military alliance. Confederation with the Imperial Wardens. Alright. Training complete. Oh, beautiful. Mission issued. Capture many provinces. Okie dokie. Alright, so we're gonna get to the Frostmaiden on the field relatively soon, just not yet. Why not yet? Because we'd have to send her... I mean, I guess we could move around the Fecondites. I don't want to essentially identify either the Fecondites or Azazel or Throtas yet, because pretty much as soon as we do, they'll declare war on us and start marching south, which you can't really deal with. I guess we could go sort of south like this, and then go down the River Reich, and then all the way to Mother Ostankia, which is what we want to do. It's quite far, but probably the way to do it, meaning, let's see. Oh, do we need to... 227, their upkeep isn't anything crazy. Alright, yeah, let's do it. Let's do it, and that gives us 2,000 gold and the Star Iron Ring, which we can give immediately to Tzarina Katarin. Like so, and you can have the Rampager standard, I guess, as well. Lovely. Alright, no points remaining. We can't reach the enemy... Yeah, we can't reach the rebels, unfortunately. Would have been free XP or whatever. Head to Kazad or Kulas, please. Alright, this will be a Pyrrhic victory, and oh right, we don't have the damn... Oh man, the lack of a little Grom is really hurting. It's essentially 2 points now, or two extra turns that we've had to besiege an enemy settlement where normally lords wouldn't. I think I got too used. Is it in vanilla that every single lord has siege attacker no matter what? Yes. I think I got too used to that. And now we have to adjust. Not a big deal, mind you, but certainly something to pay attention to. Kislev, Vigorov, what do we upgrade next? We got another market available here. Let's do you. Zavostra, you're going to have a market next. And I guess we'll upgrade Karakungor because we need that gold up mine up and running ASAP. And you know what, let's get that Patriarch. We do want a healer in Katarin's army as well. Alright, diplomacy is up next. Ostland wants to be friends, but it's trade agreements we really want. Ostermark wants a defensive alliance, Tzarina Enclave, Ropsman clan are a little bit closer to confederating and are at war with the war host of the apocalypse, which is not so bad, meaning we'd be a little bit more likely to be fighting Archaon a little bit sooner, which would be fun. Alright, but for now, unassigned skill points ignored. Tzarina Katarin, you can besiege, most likely to get attacked by Verag here, but, well. I actually wonder if this guy will attack us. He's got, what, 3/4 of a stack now? Maybe a little bit less, 60% of a stack. Let's see if he strikes at us or just sits there, waiting for us to damage ourselves, attacking Kazad Kulas, only to be opportunistic about the, about attacking us the turn after. Valmir von Raukov, Elector Count of Oslan, Non-Aggression Pact. I would wish that you would give us more money for this, so we will do this, but only once you have more money to give us for it. Gotta nickel and dime them a little bit, and damn, there's the war declaration. Alright, well, that was always gonna happen. We have a ways to go then. Confederate... You little... Oh, the Great Orthodoxy got to Prague. Well, good for them. Maybe they can build it up a little bit. If they lose it, they'll lose it. Oh, though funnily enough... Huh. AI, you little. So, the Goramadni tribe were previously at war with the Robsman clan, who didn't want to confederate with us, and then, after the confederation, they are not at war with the Orthodoxy, unless we can get the Orthodoxy to declare war on them, which I somehow doubt. Minus 51, yeah, I somehow don't see that happening. Anyway. I guess it's time to strike. It's going to be close victory and casualties medium, meaning I think we'll still have to fight this because, well, we have to, though I'm a little bit concerned about the enemy towers. They're pretty darn devastating in SFO, but I don't see how we could avoid it, especially considering the fact that we don't have any, we don't have any artillery pieces, and thus no easy way to knock them down. Well, what can you do? We're about to take some damage. Go.
We cannot falter, for all the world depends on Kislev. Fight with pride, my people!
Alrighty, here we go, skating our way forward, but we will be under fire from the enemy towers before long. Definitely a danger in SFO, as the towers are quite hefty, and we are going to use the siege towers to actually attempt to shield the rest of our army, though I did make a mistake and I should have deployed the armored Kossars, or rather the battering ram on this side, so that it wasn't as likely to get targeted by the towers, as they could rip through that unit very, very quickly. Anyway, continuing to trundle on forth with these guys, and every shot that they take is a shot that isn't taken by the rest of our army. We also have our regular Kislevite warriors out front, so hopefully the Ice Guard and the Kossars and more useful units, less sacrificable units, are a little bit safer by virtue of it. Our army is still effectively just peasants, and it's going to be as such for quite a while. Or at the very least, the next couple of episodes. Well, this episode and maybe the next episode, we should have armored Kossars up and running relatively quickly, because we only need a tier 2 for them, I think, or is it a tier 3? But yeah, armored Kossars and Frostworms are relatively easy to get. But then the fancier stuff will take a while. Anyway, once again, this is an SFO siege, so we are expecting to take damage. The towers have nearly gotten 60% of the HP off of those armored Kossars, though hopefully we'll be able to push the ram towards the enemy. Now, this particular map has no towers on this side, which is why you generally pretty much always want to attack in this battlefield. Over on this side, especially though in SFO, where towers are so much more dangerous. I'm going to fire over those walls and soften the enemy up a little bit as best we can, clear the walls effectively, and then send armored Kossars up there to fire down with their pistols while we send our units of Kislevite warriors through the battering ram broken gate, if the battering ram survives. The armored Kossars certainly didn't really, and are down to maybe 15% of their HP, so they're going to back it up, but we'll simply replace them on the ram with another unit of Kislevite warriors. The battering ram and the towers are going to approach, but not dock at the wall quite yet. I'd like to wait a little bit to get a few more arrows into the the enemies before we send our units on up there, where they will be hit by both the enemy units and our own units. Plus, we got arrow rain working for us quite well here. Alrighty, also, before I forget, I'll probably be popping the vote for the next campaign, probably the next 2 SFO campaigns, now that SFO is back, or relatively shortly, hey, for all I know, today or tomorrow, so don't forget to vote when it comes up in the community tab. I am very curious to see which of the factions will get their votes this time around. I know I haven't played High Elves in absolute ages, one of the longest factions I haven't played. I haven't played SFO Skaven in quite a bit either. Since we're getting Khorne and Ogres and Greenskins in the next DLCs, I think we will forego having them on the votes though, so we'll not do those campaigns. But there's other stuff to play with, of course. But anyway, as always, the votes will be up to you guys, at least for regular SFO, and then I'll think about doing some more other mod stuff down the line as well, but we've got new toys once again with Scorched Earth update, and we definitely gotta play with them. Anyway, our units of Khazars or armored Khazars have made it up on top of the enemy walls. They are still providing or getting plenty of support from our range fire, and the battering ram has knocked on that door and battered it down. In go the Kislevite warriors. They will be followed by our Snow Leopard and both of our Ice Witches, or Ice Queen and Frost Maiden. And I like the red lighting, so that makes everything very nice and dramatic here. Definitely a bit of a contrast between this and the sort of frozen maps. Although there's still plenty of elements of frost around. In goes the Snow Leopard. Man, you guys, we got lots and lots of suggestions for Snow Leopard, so I'm definitely going to have to build an army with like 6 of them, and just to get some of those names in there. And since they do share buffs with things in the woods, we can combine those as well. Alright, plus it's a relatively cheap but effective unit for what it does, so we should be able to make good use of them in decent numbers in the early game. Anyway, our Kislevite warriors are very much through the breach now. I'm going to drop a hailstorm and down upon a unit of boar boys that has moved in to reinforce, even while the Ice Guard and Khazars continue raining down their arrows from overhead, and the armored Khazars continue their pistol work. Now, perhaps it might have been a better idea to send the... okay, the camera's always wonky on top of the wall. To send the Kislevites, or the armored Khazars, down to fight with the regular Kislevite warriors, but I figured we might want to preserve these units just in case enemies come for us immediately after this. And the Kislevite warriors are a lot more liable to be sacrificed than the armored Khazars. Plus, they fire decently and down from up here, which they cannot do over the walls like the regular Khazars, and they certainly can't do if they're down here, or at least not to a great degree. Enemy Lord is still fighting within our stack of Kislevite warriors. We're going to back them off a little bit because we are starting to eat a few too many of our own arrows. That said, the bounce power is at about 90% in our favor now, maybe 85, and we just have a few more enemy units to work through. Alrighty, boar boys and orc boys alike having a pretty tough time against our peasant hordes here, but it's still working decently well for us. The enemy lord's down to about half of his HP, now that we do have to be careful with the Snow Leopard, as it's been pretty badly damaged, as well down to about 40. Enemy continues moving reinforcements in, but I think it's going to be too little too late. The arrows are certainly telling. There's piles of dead orcs. They may look like they're cheering as they move forward, but they're running out of troops. Man, every time I do this sort of reverse siege thing where we put the units up on walls and have them fire down into the enemy, I'm always reminded of my Zatan campaign. No, I guess I've never actually played Chaos Dwarfs in SFO either, funnily enough. But anyway, I think the most fun I've had with that, with the reverse siege thing, was putting fire glaives up here. It's just so fun watching them fire thousands of their laser shots, making that pew-pew noise while they do down upon an enemy settlement. And that we should have a pretty good time with doing so with Ice Guard as well, and when we get decent amounts of them, and Streltsy as well, once we get decent amounts of them in these armies. Anyway, it looks like most of the enemy are backing off. It looks like the bounce power is at about 95% in our favor now. Few enemy range units remain back here. A unit of Orc Boys is attempting to rush towards the gate, but we're even backing away now from the gate with our piles of sacrificable Kislevite warriors. The Orc Boys should get ripped apart by the armored Khazars and the regular Khazars. And the range superiority will tell, and the enemy army will shatter, in giving the battle and the settlement to us. Close victory, but I would wager that it's mostly from ammunition expenditure, as we certainly expended a lot of ammunition in this fight, as well as the damage on that unit of armored Khazars, but that was mostly my mistake in not deploying them in such a way that the towers shielded them like they did the rest of the army. Live and learn, I suppose. Well, I live, not so much most of the troops in that unit. Alright, not too bad. We certainly took a damage on, well, most of our melee troops, but that's liable to happen for pretty much any siege, especially with the buffed up towers and SFO, and while our army is still relatively basic. Otherwise, or however, this was the capital of the Bone Rattlers, so they will be all the weaker without it. Maintain control of 3 provinces, lovely. Obsidian Lodestone, probably on the Frost Maiden rather than on Tzarina Katarin, as I think the miscast chance is more likely on non-Tzarina Katarin, because she has the minus 25% miscast base chance on top of the additional miscast chance she gets via Earthing when we get to Earthing, that is. Now, decent likelihood that these guys will besiege us, meaning I think we have to leave the settlement so that they, well, don't. We are able to upgrade Kazad Kulas or Azag immediately. I think we'll go for you, Kazad Kulas. And I guess we gotta build something here. Control's gonna be pretty horrible here for a while, so let's do that. We also have you ready to start moving south, and ooh, I don't like how close Draca is. That makes me very nervous. That makes me very nervous indeed. We also, we have met Vlad, so we could start annoying him. I imagine Draca should try to knock out Beckhoffen first, but I think we'll probably have to turn from the mountains and deal with her before anything else. You move this way and get ready to start stealing tech. And we do have the ability to get our first Patriarch up and running, so that we will. Now, what do we have here in terms of abilities? Shrewd Advisor gives us the Guardian ability, which is physical resistance for heroes, is not so bad. Flow of battle area speed, it's okay. I do like the Vigor aspect of it as well. Blessed by Ursun gives us effect range plus 100% for Courage of Sacrifice. Melee defense plus 5. Affects units of hit points less than 25%, so great with weaker armies full of like Khazars and stuff, but I think we'll have to do you, Shrewd Advisor, at least for now. Yes. And we'll move you into the army afterwards. Alright. Southern Oblast, for Jakova, you're ready for an upgrade, though if you get attacked by Draca, I'm not sure you're gonna be able to hold, but nonetheless, gotta get those iron mines up and running, and we gotta keep our markets upgraded everywhere. Zavastra market as well. And yes, I'm going for the market rather than the farms first, and generally I think what I'll do is go for merchant traders slash markets early, and then get merchant traders and markets in every one of these locations once we don't need the Khazar hut and other things in the lower level settlements, the minor settlements. Diplomacy. What do we have here? Nobody wants to trade. How rude. Lami and Sisterhood, funnily enough, wants to... Let's have a non-aggression pact, eh? Interesting. Katarin has lost their main stack. I don't know whether it was to Azag. Well, it has to be to Azag, since they're the only ones to war with them, but they don't want to trade with us. Druzhin Enclave still want to confederate, but once again, I feel like it's not worth it. I'm toying with the idea of attacking Katarin just to take more mountain territories, but if we go too far south, then Vlad is liable to attack us there. And right now, we can't open up too many fronts. I think the early game for the Boris Ursus campaign was one of the harder campaigns I've played. Certainly, there was a lot of issues, starting off with the weaker economy as well as completely surrounded by enemies, and I've certainly somewhat learned from that. But anyway, for now, I think we'll be okay. More likely than not, we'll ally with Katarin. In fact, we could probably just ally with them right now. They're willing to give us a decent amount of gold, and you know what? If they die, if they lose to Skarsnik, well then we'll take their territory. But for now, they can bolster our southern borders.
Agreed.
I think we can make a lot of headway by confederating Mother Astankia once she starts losing up north, which is pretty darn likely, let's say. And then, you know, get a lot of the territory of Nagaroth and stuff like this all the way up here. Plus, by sending a hero out there, we should be able to trade with the elves, assuming they don't get obliterated by Nakari, the Cult of Pleasure, and the Dreadfleet. In turn, I imagine that the rebels should try to attack us now, which I guess would probably force Tzarina Katarin to move as a reinforcement to Kazad or Kulas, which might be slightly annoying, but better than being besieged and losing troops to attrition. Ostermark, you want a military alliance? No. And just keep fighting with Draika. As soon as she kills you, she's probably going to declare war on us. So, this guy's not going to attack. Well, good for him, or perhaps not so good for him. Zufbar has been destroyed. Ooh, that's early. And Azag, I still see is up, or I see is still up. Interesting. Oh, I also noticed that the Silver Pinnacle does have gemstones. Oh, we might want to grab the Silver Pinnacle and Nashrax there. You only have this one territory? Yeah, this would be a pretty good opportunity. Alright. Faction destroys of Bar, yeah. Recruit an additional lord. That we will. As soon as our economy kicks off just a little bit more. Yosef Mikhaev, you are going up north because you have to go to our army. Michaela, you have to loop around in such a way that you don't identify the Fecondites, but also so that you can get to Mother Astankia. Also, do you have anything that will help you on the field? When's a magic reserve? Well, I guess we have to go Steel Tech and Specialist, as that's the main thing you'll be doing. Stealing Tech on the way. Probably should have annoyed Vlad a little bit, but if we get a few extra turns of, you know, him not really hating us, it might be worth our time. I do also want to double check. Huh. Frenzy for accompanying lore. That's kind of interesting. I just wanted to check what the, what kind of potential we had for buffs or traits on those guys. Anyway, we do now have the ability to get the Temple of Ursun, Growth Control and Furs, versus the Grand Citadel, Control in adjacent provinces, Upkeep and, it's okay, Devotion, and then lastly the Boca Palace, which gives us access to Snow Leopards, as well as Zargard, but alas does not give us access to Iceguard as yet. We do have to build it. We also have the basic furs here as well. Alright, and I forget, what do you do again? Control and Corruption Reduction. Also, however, defenses here are okay. They could certainly deal with a single enemy stack. What does this do in the final tier? Orthodoxy District, it's nothing crazy, to be honest. A little bit of extra control and then control in adjacent provinces is fine, though actually our control here is pretty bad because of raiding. Oh, meaning we can't see them, but there is likely a army belonging to these guys here, meaning we're gonna have to get our second army up and running right now. Alright, well then. Do we still have that Kossar commander? Yes, we do. Cheap Kossar commander, you're probably the way to go. At least for an early game defender. Just want to double check if there's anything I do like this guy. What's the cost of these? Well, these guys are cheaper than the Tzarina commanders. Upkeep production by 20 versus 10. I don't want to miss out on this guy, though, so we might get him and then just sort of delete him and then keep him on the field, you know what I mean? Yeah, for now, cost our commander. And aha, yes, there was indeed another army here. They can reach us, and they might besiege us, but they wouldn't win in a walled attack. Whether they try or not. Get a couple of cheap Kislevite warriors just for now. 88. Wait, do you reduce Kislevite? Oh, you don't reduce Kislevite warrior costs. You just reduce Cossar costs. Alright, fine. Start building the Cossars. I wish they weren't so horrifically expensive, but what can you do? We definitely want the Grand Market here, regardless of the cost, and we probably want the other two things. We can't afford them right now, nor anything else, I think. Go for the hunting camp. I'm kind of on the fence about the Patriarch building. Oh, speaking of, we could pop another Patriarch into that army as well. Though I'm not so sure about either of these two, I'll think about it. Alright, the rest of that is good. We have an Ataman available as well. Or, oh wait, we don't. We have... attrition while under siege versus recruiter, upkeep reduction, and recruitment costs for... fine. Show pioneering spirit. I might send you briefly to River Urskoy, though you are providing additional... Oh, you're not. You're just providing growth. Huh. You know what? Go here. It'll be next turn, and then once we recruit more of these guys, they'll be cheaper by virtue of it. Hopefully that'll work out. Alright, Tzarina Katarin, you've got a fight for yourself, and we'll probably take damage doing so, but, well, you gotta risky to get the bisky. Go. Alright, Pyrrhic victory. These guys have a lot of night goblins. Oh, damn, they have an artillery piece. And a decent amount of cav as well. Well, the artillery is going to be annoying. It does mean we'll need to march forward rather than kick back and relax. Works for me. Go.
Time and again, Kislev has faced worse than this rabble. The motherland endures!
Alrighty, gliding around like this everywhere certainly makes you you look pretty darn regal. I also like the difference between the sort of ice gliding that the Frost Maidens do. Like, they're putting in a lot of work, essentially, to skate along the ground like this, whereas Tzarina Katarin can basically just stand there and glide forward seemingly effortlessly, as well as befits the Ice Queen. Anyway, here we go again, a decent-sized stag this time around, but it's the artillery piece, and that's going to be the biggest problem for us. We will march forward in order to move our army between this sort of impassable terrain that we got on this little cliffside here and this copse of trees to protect us from boar boys and generally enemy cavalry. We are also going to rush forward our mages to try to drop a few spells, namely a hailstorm upon the enemy artillery. I don't imagine that this will do too much, mostly because it's not the most accurate spell and is meant for sort of blob units. Only taking about 10% of their HP up, but that's okay. And, that was a little off. Interesting. I wonder if that was me just screwing up, or whether that means there was a desync. I guess we'll have to see. But anyway, there's a Goblin Rock Lobber there, and we have moved around the Winged Hussars and the Snow Leopard, and they're going to charge on through. The enemy Boar Boys and Spider Riders are also giving chase to our Wizards, but they can skate away leisurely, or relatively leisurely, while we drop an ice sheet behind us, slowing the enemy down, and then start dropping arrows like there's no tomorrow. And there will be no tomorrow for orcs and goblins alike. There we go, Winged Hussars charging in, Night Goblins attempting to countercharge them, but I think that the damage will be there, and the artillery piece will drop to 10% of its HP, and we'll book it on out of there. Enemy Spider Riders and Boar Boys heavily slowed down by the Frostbite and are terrified as they attempt to run away. Oh, I didn't realize that Tzarina Katarin caused terror. I thought she caused fear. Interesting. It's kind of surprising. Actually, that's really surprising. Last time I played Taurox, I remember Taurox caused fear rather than terror, and I was like, yeah, this guy running at you isn't gonna cause terror? Okay. But yeah, that's kind of interesting indeed. Torx is pretty scary is what I'm getting at. Anyway, keep on casting. Okay, that one looks like it landed. I probably just screwed up the first one and I missed it a little bit. The enemy range or the enemy artillery have been taken care of. And now it's just a matter of grinding the enemy infantry and cavalry down, though the enemy cavalry is pretty severely reduced in number as well, as we have both deleted a bunch of them with our range units, and will continue to do so with our own cav and with the Snow Leopard. We backed away with the Snow Leopard here in a little maneuver, as the Snow Leopard has stalks, so we could get it hidden, so that it would be able to get behind the Force Goblin Spider Riders, and then hit them. As soon as it does, it'll apply Maim, slowing them down and allowing the winged hussars to close with them and hopefully delete them. And there we go. Spider Riders not getting into our back line certainly, and the winged hussars should be able to take care of them quite quickly, I wager. Alright, well, those guys are looking pretty good. The enemy melee infantry have arrived, and our Kislevite warriors and armored Khazars are holding. Any additional extra units of Kislevite warriors not needed on the main line are looping around and hitting the enemy in the flanks / the rear to cause additional morale shots. I don't expect the goblins to be able to make their way through the armored Khazars or Kislevite warriors, though. At least not quick enough to avoid getting ripped apart by enemy range, or our range. Because we're the enemy. We're their enemy. You know what I mean? I'll stop. Alrighty. Well, the balance of power has shifted to about 80% in our favor now, maybe closing in, inching towards 85. The enemy lord is, of course, still at relatively full HP, and ooh, look at those spinning loons. That single use took, this unit was just at full HP and took half of their HP off. Definitely have to watch out, and that was with them hitting a single unit. If they were to hit multiple units, it will be, or would be, pretty ugly. Gotta watch out for those, but these guys still served their purpose, did their duty, and oh, here comes another use of those spinning loons, and looped around the enemy. And here we go, armored Khazars up front, and we got some regular Khazars here, and these things are about to do tons of damage to them, I bet. There we go. Oh, that's not good. Oh, and they'll move through them into the back lines as well, taking another massive amount of HP off of these Khazars and clipping this one as well. Fortunately for us, too little, too late. They spin, but they don't win this time around, as the enemy will shatter and book it on out of there, giving the battle to us. Very nice. Very nice, and we, since we had a slight advantage in terms of numbers, we were able to get a couple of these units of Khazars around the enemy, and they were sort of firing parallel to the enemy deployment the entire time, which really worked out well for us. At least their arrow, I mean, they are deployed perpendicular to them, but their arrows were firing parallel. You know what I mean? Alright, well, the enemy will run, but they probably won't run all that far. Frostbite reduces their speed. And once again, I do love these frosty battle maps, the snowy battlefields. They're always very nice to see everything. Anyway, we got a little bit of chasing to do, but we can do the rest off screen. Our Snow Leopard should assassinate the enemy Rebel Lord, and our Cav will chase down the rest. Ooh, there we go. A very nice fight. I certainly enjoyed that one, though it was certainly an abject lesson in not underestimating the Night Goblin fanatics' spinning loons. I watched the HP drop from a single use of the spinning loons on, I think, 3 units of Khazars, 1 unit of armored Khazars, and 2 units of the regular Khazars. Fortunately, the loons didn't kill a lot of the actual units, but the amount of HP damage they did to our lines was really pretty crazy, and definitely have to watch out in terms of blobbing up when that happens. Now that said, at 51k damage and 757 kills, the Winged Hussars, our first named unit, have a damn well cleaned house in this particular battle. Very impressive. And good work from the Snow Leopard and keeping up with them as well. Plenty of damage on our various Khazars and stuff, but once again, you gotta remember that numbers do have a tendency to get inflated in SFO generally. Anyway, we got a little bit of cash versus a little bit of healing. Azag is nearby, and I don't know how far we have to move, so I think it's probably the safer thing to do. Saliak provides. I'd love to get the money for the additional econ, but I think for this one turn, especially if we are going to auto-resolve this. Oh, auto-resolve, you better not. Okay, we'll see. Ooh, finally a warhorse for you, and Tzarina Katarin is still mountless. She get rank 8. Ow! She got out-leveled. Well, that's just rude. But anyway, I don't think we need Hawks of Miska or Blizzard at the current time. I did want magical reserves, and then we'll probably move into scouting because the additional magic item drop chance would be just swell. Tzarina Katarin, you're going to be holding on to your points now until we can move in through your unique lines. So please do. In details, ancillaries, we got nothing new, and our first quest is available at rank 7, which is now, which means we'll get it up and running next turn. I don't know whether we'll fight it, but we'll have it available. Auto-resolve this. Hopefully auto-resolve doesn't screw us too hard. 18 units, well, harder than I'd like, but nonetheless. Saliak provides again and heal up. Alright, now from here, you can neither reach the Silver Pinnacle, nor can you reach Nashrak's Lair. Azag has a full stack there, but this is his last territory. It's probably a territory that would be worth quite a bit to Karak Kadrin as well, and because we're not at war with the Silver Pinnacle, we should probably move up there. We could risk... nah. I was about to say, we could risk attempting a... wait. On Motherland stands 50%. It's not really percent, but it's... No, man, just going to encamp stance. I'm gonna hope that we can reach Nashrak's Lair next turn, but if we can't, we can't. I'd rather not suffer attrition. It doesn't have defenses, and... oh, it does have another little stack here. What I was gonna say was we could attempt to go into ambush, but... yeah... perhaps too risky right now. Vitevo, you still have that roadhouse, but I think it's no longer necessary here. I originally built it for the growth and the control, but the growth is... well, actually, the growth isn't that great. You know what? Never mind. Don't delete that. And I don't believe there's anything else that we can do this particular turn, neither to prepare for the enemy's attack nor anything else. Russian Enclave's still not going to bother with the Confed, though. Castle Alexandrinov has fallen rather to the scaling. I hope Arengrad doesn't fall, but even if it does, we should be fine. Does anybody know what happens if the Great Orthodoxy gets completely wiped out? Are you still able to confederate them and still get revive Kastaltin after, or no? I wonder. But anyway, end turn. Well, let's see what we got. Oh, we should send another hero up to Boris Ursus as well. He generally... well, I've seen him do really well once, and then I've seen him do fairly poorly another time, so who knows. Alright, let's see if we can reach Azag. Damn, we've got a lot of enemies to fight here, so we're gonna have to be real careful. Plus, Azag himself is going to be a toughie. Devotion plus 30 versus another Patriarch. I'm gonna say Devotion, simply because we're very close to being able to activate the next Devotion thing. The skeleton of a colossal bear, larger than even the mightiest war bear, washes up on the banks of the Urskoy. The bones are pristine, entirely undamaged, and without a trace of decay upon them. This is surely a sign from Ursun, and we must respond with reverence. Quiet burial. Alright, and there we go. Frostfang quest is up and running. We will give this a read, I guess, when we complete it. We gotta occupy, loot, raise, or sack 3 different settlements, which should be reasonably easy. Sergei Akulov Boyar. don't remember who you are. Oh, are you going to try to bypass Kislev? Go figure. Oh, it's the... Oh, okay, yeah, this guy. Yeah, I remember now. Alright. Another Kossar commander, go figure. You can be our Kossar commander for now, since they're so cheap. And there we go, now we got the recruitment reduction as well. Wait.
Ice Queen of Kislev.
Step Shepherd out of this army and into this army. I forgot that we had it, to be perfectly frank. This will make the recruitment even cheaper. Sadly, this is the non-spear variant, but we gotta get what we can get here. Not much of a choice in the map. Tzarina Katarin, can you reach Nashrak's lair from here? Yes, you can, meaning if we win this, though I'm sure it'll be a toughie, and we should be able to knock Azag out for good. We also have a new tech available to us, and the tech that we will tech towards... Instruction for Hallowed Wood campaign movement range in own territory. Yeah, but in 5 turns... Well, we do have to travel all the way like this up here to deal with these guys, or we could go like this through the Darklands, through Uzkalak, but perhaps that might be a bit iffy. Ow! They're at war with each other too, interestingly enough. Yeah. But I do think we should take the Silver Pinnacle, so that we still will. Anyway, I guess we go. We'll pick the tech afterwards. And this should be a pretty darn good fight, and Pyrrhic victory. We've got a little bit of damage on the enemy already, but they have, what, a stack and a half? Oh, which is pretty good. Actually, a little bit more than a stack and a half. A stack and 3/4, eh? Well, they certainly outnumber us. I guess the main issue... Oh, they'll outnumber us even more as they have Bony Boys, or 2 units of Bony Boys, plus the Wa available to them, plus Azag himself. We're gonna have to be quite careful here. Away we go.
Fight with bravery and honor. Do not disappoint Ursun, Salyak, Dash, and Thor!
Alrighty, here we go. This one, I think, will be a proper damn fight with nearly 2 stacks arrayed against us. The first episodes of the campaign, of a campaign, generally have a tendency to obviously be sort of small fry fighting small fry, but at the same time, and those kind of battles also do have a tendency to be pretty darn good, with the danger of losing periodically. We're always there due to the fragility of your own units and the lack of buffs and all that sort of jazz. Anyway, the enemy will deploy a single little lord, the lord that was outside the settlement over on this side, so we will prepare for his arrival, and then we're going to hope that if we kill him here, that will annoy the enemy army sufficiently to move towards us. If it doesn't, we're going to have to do a little bit more work and send the wizards out there to cast a few spells, but we do have a very nice position up here. And we definitely will want to hold it. Ooh, nice hit with that sword, taking one of our armored Kossars away. And just as we charge in on the enemy lord, the Bony Boys pop out of the ground and start smashing our armored Kossars, and not in a good way. The Bony Boys are like biggins, I guess, with less armor piercing, though. I guess they're just orc boys, judging by the lack of armor piercing. But they should still be good enough to dish out damage to the armored Kossars, and as we can see, they've lost about 20% of their HP. Always lovely to see variants of undead on the field, though. Still think it's a damn shame that the regular undead factions don't get various sort of unit raising abilities. Like the ability to raise dwarfs, dwarks, etc., etc. What you kill is what you raise. Kill them or raise them, they like to say, but really they only raise regular Imperial zombies. Anyway, enemy lord is at about half HP, but with all 3 of these guys attacking him, he should be done for fairly soon, though he'll pop another unit of those Bony Boys to try to bail him out. The other Bony Boys are getting ripped apart now. The Ice Guard have made their way into the fray and are letting loose with their ice swords. Their twin ice swords, I should say. And I decided to send them into melee because otherwise they would have been a very big danger to the armored Kossars here. And they're pretty solid in clearing out chaff infantry like this, which these zombies, or these skeletons rather, very much are. Enemy Lord is booked it on off-field, which is great, and now we are going after this Bony Boys unit. And considering that the enemy essentially blew both of its Bony Boys abilities relatively early, that means they won't be able to use them on our range line, which is pretty great. Speaking of our range line, looks like a unit of Forest Goblin Spider Rider Archers will attempt to make their way forth up the hill, but we have a very solid position. They will fire, but that'll get them into range, and then they're going to start melting pretty quick at this rate, I'd wager. Especially with every single one of our units being able to focus them, and oh, looks like they're going to move close enough into range so that the armored Kossars can pistol them down as well, and just like that, the Spider Riders will be deleted. Oh, one of them was just about to charge. Oh, guys, stop wasting ammo on that. We have other things to do. Over on the left flank, we've sent forth our winged hussars, who got hit with a Gaze of Nagash from Azag the Slaughterer, which took about 20% of their HP and 13 of their number out. A little bit unfortunate for them, but they should still have the numbers necessary to take out that Goblin Rock Lobber, now that it's not protected by the rest of the enemy army. Looks like more cavalry are moving forth. The enemy seems to have decided it wants to send the faster moving units out front, and this is unfortunately for it what happens when you sort of annoy them enough. Doesn't seem to want to advance with the entire army, which means the Boar Boys will melt, and the other Boar Boys will probably melt as well, though I'd wager the Trolls will be able to get to our line. There we go. Down go the Boars, but the Trolls moving in with their 20% missile and 20% physical resistance, as well as Troll regeneration. We'll certainly be able to dish out damage here, and in fact we're going to send Tzarina Katarin and the Snow Leopard and the Frost Maiden in to deal with them. Over in the back line, we have reached the enemy artillery with our winged hussars, who did get hit again, unfortunately. Another Gaze of Nagash and a Spirit Leech, taking them down to only 33 units and less than half of their HP. And they did still manage to knock out this Goblin Rock Lobber, which was absolutely critical, but oh, another Spirit Leech, damn you, Azag. At least they're distracting Azag from the rest of the fight, so he won't be able to be here when the enemy moves up the hill. However, it also means we probably won't be able to use the Winged Hussars anymore, as they are too heavily damaged. But oh well, here come the tide of greenskins. They've finally drawn close enough for us to drop an ice sheet upon them, and with the ice sheet, here comes the fire. Ooh, we should make an ice and fire army. Maybe Ice Guard or some other icy units, maybe some Frost Worms in combination with some Dwarfen or Lizard fire units. Oh, Frostworms and fire, or Frostworms and Salamanders, or possibly Flame Cannons and Iron Drakes. There's certainly options. Somebody also suggested we attempt to ally with Throg to attempt to get access to Norscan Ice Trolls, so I guess you could do the same with Wulfric as well, any Norscan faction. So there's something to think about, though. I imagine it'll be a difficult time, but if we get the opportunity maybe to declare war on a bunch of factions for an alliance with them, then the possibility certainly exists. Anyway, the enemy are having at this current time still yet a tough time trying to get through that ice field, between the ice sheet rather and the frostbite off of our attacks. It's pretty darn nasty. Unfortunately, this is a little bit of a dark battle, so it's kind of hard to see what's going on, but, well, it happens. I think this is the first real dark battle in the map, so, it's all good. Ooh, looks like some orcs have made it out of the dark and into the light here. Though how long they'll be able to stay here remains to be seen. I suppose, though, that with the backs of our Kislevite warriors to our archers, we're going to have a difficult time knocking the boar boys out, who should in theory be able to win in melee, especially with activating Wurzag's or Azag's Wa, and giving them melee attack plus 30, causing fear, terror, and base weapon attacks damage as well. 73 melee attack and 51 weapon strength on a unit of regular orc boys rather, is a pretty darn scary sight. Alrighty, keep on firing. We've switched targets now to the enemy range units, mostly because we don't want to damage our own units too much with our range. Speaking of, though, we are starting to drop pretty low in ammunition. I got completely spoiled by playing Malachi and Elspeth with the reload available in high numbers to both factions and rarely running out of ammunition, but that is not going to be the case here. Alright, keep firing for as long as you can. We're down to the dregs in terms of ammunition here, 20%, 10%. A few more volleys and we're going to have to send those guys into melee as well. Got to make sure that the more dangerous units like these trolls are out, but they are booking it on out of there, and the balance of power has shifted to about 65% in our favor. First of our units are out though, Kislevite warriors here. We're going to try to back them up by dropping a Frost Maiden's Kiss upon the enemy, and it looks like the enemy has also used a Dread and Darkness. Nope, Spirit Leech upgraded on these Kislevite warriors, and ooh, they are dropping very quick between the Spirit Leech on them and I guess the orcs in here somewhere attacking them as well. And that unit is pretty much done for. And we're gonna have to try to move to bail it out. Another Wurzag's Wa activates, or Azag's Wa activates. I keep saying Wurzag because of repeatedly encountering him in Malachi's campaign recently. And we're trying to knock out this Black Orc Big Boss with the Snow Leopard and the two Frost Witches, or Ice Witches. Unfortunately, the Snow Leopard gets hit with the Spirit Leech as well, and damn you, Azag, with all those spells. I guess we're getting a little bit of a taste of our own medicine, as Death Magic meets Ice Magic. Not to worry though, if Azag likes death so much, we'll let him experience the chill of the grave. And by the looks of it, we should be able to do so reasonably soon. A few of our units are fleeing the front lines now, having taken heavy damage, and since we have been forced to move our range units into melee, maybe, what, 4 units still have ammunition, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them, 4 of them rather, are about to run out. Oh, basically all the Cossars are out, and the Ice Guard are the only ones that remain with ammo. Alright, Tzarina Katarin has had to make her way into the melee as well a little bit. I like how in the dark the ice forming, it almost looks like it's like lightning and ice at the same time. That's pretty neat. Pretty neat indeed. And damn, that Black Orc Big Boss, he does come back, but will break yet again. I don't think we had the capability of knocking him out much more, especially since the Snow Leopard is off the field, or at the very least is no longer able to fight. Both armies now down to the dregs. We have no ammo, and most of our melee line has collapsed, though fortunately the Ice Guard are still here and still ready to fight. That said, Azag is still here, though I'm going to hope that we can essentially destroy his army without having to break through his HP. It looks like he's going to pop another Gaze of Nagash and will attempt to target Tzarina Katarin, who is chasing some units down. She's got 3,300 HP now. And decent aim by Azag, though it looks like 2 of the projectiles did hit trees rather than Tzarina Katarin. She does drop by a solid amount of HP as well, though. Yeah, not bad. Alright. Definitely have to be careful with that. Not sure how many more of those we can take. Not sure how much more mana Azag has after dropping all those Gaze of Nagashes and the Spirit Leeches. Slowly making his way towards us. Fortunately, he doesn't have his Wyvern mount. Would have been a lot worse for us if he had. And a lot worse for the winged hussars as well. He makes it in now, but the rest of his army is very much in trouble. Some enemy units of range have rallied, but now that Azag has drawn close to the rest of our lines, we send in the badly hurt winged hussars to charge the rear of the enemy range units again, and hopefully knock them out for good this time. Right into those Night Goblin archers, send those gabos flying right on through them and into the back line of the rest. And it looks like that charge from the winged hussars will carry the day. The enemy army will shatter, and Azag will run with them. Yeah, it was definitely starting to get ugly there. Tons and tons of damage on lots of our units. 1, 2, 3, 4, let's say 5, 6, 7 units destroyed. Basically all of our melee units destroyed, though they should still heal up to maybe 40% of their HP post-battle regardless. And we don't have to chase because we were able to attack the enemy settlement as well. And with that, Azag's faction is done. Ooh, very nice. A rather tough little fight, I'd say. The spell work from Azag was particularly annoying, basically taking out our winged hussars pretty much immediately between the Gaze of Nagash and the Spirit Leech upon them. The Spirit Leech then also hit the Snow Leopard, and we got more Gazes of Nagash on our Lord and heroes as well. That said, it didn't stop the Ice Witches from dishing out plenty of damage. About 60k between the two of them, which is still pretty darn solid, though the Frost Maiden did book it on off the field. Lots of damage on all of our range units, though every single one of them ran out of ammunition at the end, and we had to finish up the battle in melee, which, well, is why we got a Pyrrhic victory. We got a Frost Shard armor as a reward for ourselves. Not really. Honestly, judging by the stats, it's probably not worth it as a blue item in the sense that it should be a green item. Only 8 armor and a little bit of spell resistance. I think the common, the gray item, Spell Shield, gives 12 spell resistance and 5 armor, so there's no way that this should be blue, it should be green. But nonetheless, it's a solid item we can put on the Frost Witches or Frost Maidens as long as they're not the fighting variety for when they miscast and hurt themselves. Otherwise, we got a solid amount of XP, a little bit of cash, and more importantly, have basically destroyed Azag. So we're going to occupy the place. Oh, wait. I don't remember what our move distance was. This was already at tier 2, so we, you know what, sack it. We want to knock this guy out so he doesn't come after us next turn. How far will he run, though? We won't be able to chase him down. Okay, fine. We'll move into a Nashrak's lair, then unoccupied. It'll be damaged, unfortunately, but we'll just trade it to Karakadrin and have them watch our southern borders. Katrin, hold on to the armor, and hey, got a warhorse now, plus additional spell resistance via defeating Azag as well. Leadership aura, makes sense for the queen, and the spell resistance will work. Not a crazy defeat trade, mind you, but still works for us. Leave the settlement because you'll immediately get besieged by Spinny Backstabber. And go into channeling stance, though actually you didn't really need to, but whatever. Keep holding on to your points, and you can do the same, I bet. Or wait, or do we go for scouting now? You know, funnily enough, we probably could have used the Blizzard in that particular fight, though would we have used it at the cost? I'm generally thinking that we're probably spamming Hailstorm a lot more, and occasionally Gust of True Flight, and once again at the end of the day, Tzarina Katarin's going to be casting a lot more, so yeah, you're fine as you are. Alrighty, we are recruiting more Kossars to defend here, and I'm going to assume once again these guys are going to try to bypass Kislev and hit either Igorov or Vitevo. But there isn't really too much we can do about that. What we can do is knock out this little army, and then probably grab the Silver Pinnacle and then book it fast as we can back down here. We may also then want to recruit another Patriarch for this army. Once again, I don't particularly like either one of these ones, but we'll go for the Shrewd Advisor one. Wait, what were you again? You were also Shrewd Advisor? Yeah, just for that Guardian trait. I know that there are better traits on them. I don't remember what they are, but I know that there are better ones. So we'll look towards getting those. Hunting Lodge, we'll ignore you for now. We have the market, and I guess we can ignore the Orthodoxy Church. The rating is really causing problems, though, so it's making me think we might actually need the control. But we do get a lot of control out of the special buildings here, the Boca Palace and all that. So we could probably hold off and get it eventually. Also, you keep going this way. Now, I assume that the Patriarchs do have casualty replenishment rate for army, unless I'm mistaken. Let's double check, though. Yeah, replenish troops. Beautiful. And then we'll want the healing Celiac's Lullaby, which also gives us spell resistance. You know what? All the spell resistances are fine, because we're liable to be dropping a lot of our own spells where they could be dangerous to us, so it works just fine. Look at all of these. I also noticed that these guys have Sons of Kislev, which is upkeep production further for Kossars. If we have a significant amount of Patriarchs, we could probably pop a bunch of them into the Kossar reduction armies. And honestly, without supply lines in SFO, and we could probably have a bunch of sort of really, really cheap armies full of nothing but Kossars and Patriarchs. They wouldn't be able to fight a real army, but any kind of basic stack and sort of moving around and occupying settlements, they would certainly have value there. Anyway, I forgot to pick the new tech. I guess we're going to go for Troll Country Pathfinder, and just to be able to move around in our own territory a little bit faster, and unless there's diplomacy, though I will continue to check it pathologically. Probably good to go. Though, Northern Provinces, you are currently at war with the Blessed Dread. We will declare war on the Blessed Dread in order to get friendly with you. And take your money. I hope that won't get you killed, but I'd like to establish a relationship with Cathay early, as there's some of their units I think they'll fit nicely with our roster. Also, we need 95 now. Damn, it was 80 last time I checked, but not quite there yet. All right, and I guess we'll upgrade Raziak as well. Anything here? I'm kind of hesitant to upgrade Zavastra because this army is nearby, but nah, just risk it. And hopefully it won't come back to bite us. Alright, now we're good. Skip, and then the turn. Spinny Backstab is going to attempt to take Nasharak's lair, retake it. Oh, I forgot about Michaela here, but fortunately she's still moving from the end turn or last turn, so that works. Oh, and frankly, moving through the Imperial territories will probably afford us at least a few more trading partners, which we certainly need to kickstart our economy. And oh damn, we are basically out of time. Damn, well, time flies when you're having fun. When I'm having a lot of fun, I tend not to notice what's going on with the time. So let's end this turn. We'll knock out Azag's faction for good, which should happen now. And I see the Draca didn't declare war on us, which is great, just great. Not sarcastically, actually great. And confederation between Reichland and Talabekland. They certainly seem to be confederating. Ah, Olaf Hilmarsson seems to be backing off rather than stick around where all of these Kossars are watching him. Bone Rattlers destroyed. Beautiful. And hello. Vespa gives us. Oh, it's that Courage of Sacrifice thing. Oh, funnily enough, not perhaps a horrible passive to have when your army is going to be full of basic Kossar units, but certainly, something to think about. Anyway, folks, I think with that, we are out of time, and I think this is where we're going to call it. Next time, we will quickly march Tzarina Katarin up to the Silver Pinnacle and fight some undead, taking it for ourselves and using it essentially as a bastion to block off anything moving from the Darklands. It is a suitable climate for us. It'll have defenses as well as a gemstone mine for us. As soon as we take that, we'll ignore the territories in the Darklands for now, looping back northward towards the territories of the Goramadni tribe, and I guess the 5 or so turns it'll take to travel will allow us to build up our economy a little bit at the same time as allow the enemies to grow a little bit stronger. I have been loving all the fights in SFO. SFO just feels very different from vanilla, just because of the relative slowness or the increased slowness of the battles, but also because of the very dangerous units. It certainly feels like you could lose at any moment, despite despite the fact that battles are slower, which is kind of a neat dynamic. Anyway, more Kislev to come, so stay tuned. Don't forget to leave those likes and comments and names and whatnot below. All glory to the algorithm, and thanks for watching.